We had the minutes were sent out. Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I have a motion from Kevin to approve the minutes.
I'll second. Paul?
I have a second from Paul.
Mayor, I just wanted to note that Renee just sent a corrected copy of the minutes about 30 minutes ago,
It was changing the one item
Yeah.
that Chad brought up.
and that Renee was present virtually. I think that.
Right.
Okay. So with that correction, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or corrections to be made? If not, all in favor of approving the minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We have a long list of abatement updates tonight, and we'll start out, I'll take it in the order that I have them listed here, Kimball Furniture and Kimball Hospitality. So Tanya, Bart, Kevin, and Jim. I don't know if you divide and conquer, or you're doing it all together?
Kind of divide and conquer. I'm going
Okay.
to start us out and then
Okay.
I'm Tanya Maringer. I'm tactical with Kimball International.
Would you make sure the mic is on, Tanya? Is the light on?
Can you hear me?
The little red button.
Yep, it is.
Okay, good, thank you.
I'll let these guys introduce themselves.
I'm Kevin Ward, plant manager at Kimball Hospitality, 16th Street.
Bart Wire, Director of Operations for the Jasper facilities.
And Jim was not able to.
Okay.
So the first one is Kimball Furniture Group. This abatement is a 10-year abatement, so we are winding down on this one. This abatement was related to employees and equipment. We purchased some of that new equipment at the end of 2012 and then some additional in 2013. Back almost 10 years ago, we had 370 employees. As of the end of the year, we have as you know, those employees kind of started dwindling down in 2020 with the COVID, and they haven't really revamped back up yet. On a positive note, I think I gave you my notes on the back of yours, possibly. The salaries did increase over the years. The average salaries increased by about $8,000 per employee. And from last year, there was about a $3,000 increase per employee, average increase.
On this one, on your, is this the last time you'll report on this abatement?
There should be one more.
Okay, we don't have that schedule in front of us.
Oh, yeah, the 103 ERA is not in front of you, is it? Yeah, so there should be one last year on this for the ones that we put in service in 2013.
But you're near 100%
Yes.
on it, okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
The reduction in employees during this period of time, you said it was COVID-related?
COVID-related, and then some moving of the work between the facilities, lining up our core competencies a little better between the plants. So it was a smaller impact, but yes, it was COVID-related. We are looking for employees now across the Jasper campus. Every employee, we'd love to hire 100 if we could just find them.
That was going to be one of my questions as well. Some of the equipment that you bought, was some of that able to streamline some of the employment as well?
Capital investments, do make us more efficient.
Sure.
Typically, we don't displace employees because, of the tight labor market in Jasper, where we
Right.
always have a need somewhere, one of the plants in town, so.
Okay.
Any of this work moved outside the state of Indiana? Okay. Thanks, Barton.
So the investment in the equipment was what you expected then? You had done that, is that correct?
Yes.
We'll take them one at a time, I guess, Renee, as far as,
That's correct. Mayor, I'll make a motion for the Kimball Furniture Group to be in substantial compliance.
I have a motion.
see those employee numbers. I know you and everybody else would love to have those 100.
I have a motion from Nancy to find Kimball Furniture in substantial compliance. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Kevin. Any other discussion on this? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We'll go to Kimball Hospitality then?
I need you guys to try to speak up a little bit.
We have 2 for hospitality. Which one would you like to start with?
You decide.
Okay, we can go with Resolution 2017-12.
Okay.
This was an equipment-only abatement. We did put that equipment into place around 2019 was whenever it completed. Actually, January 31st of 2019 was when that did complete. And he knows more about all that than.
The abatement was a little less than the original. The thing that wasn't complete. The reason that was is that the man goes live. That's the only thing that wasn't done.
How much money was that? You recall?
I've got it down here, hang on. $192,000.
This is on equipment, didn't have any impact on employment. Okay.
And on this one, you're about 5 years into the abatement.
So with that,
I'll make a motion there in substantial compliance.
motion from Kevin.
I'll second it.
And it's further discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Okay, the next abatement was the new finish line and other manufacturing equipment. That start date was the end of 2012, and then estimated completion was 2013. This did involve employees. At the time, we had 142. We currently have 154, so we have added 12 employees, and we've retained those employees throughout the years. There have been about 6,000 per, averaged about 6,000 per employee a year has been the increase over the years. So that is the employee side of it.
And were all those, were they new employees, or did we transfer?
They were new.
New, okay.
The average wage increase was 6,000 a year during that period?
Yes.
Okay.
During the period from the beginning of the abatement until now, until as of 12/31, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Congratulations on gaining those 12 people.
Yeah.
Like Mark said, I'd love to hire more.
You and all the others get,
I have a feeling we're going to hear that a lot tonight, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Mayor, I would go ahead and make a motion to find this abatement in substantial compliance as well.
Okay, I have a
motion.
motion from Paul and a second from Nancy. Any further discussion on this? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you for providing those jobs in our community.
Yeah. It's critical. Yeah, we're stay that way. You guys have been healthy and very competitive. I know you made adjustments along the way, what you had to, so I appreciate that.
Yep, thank you.
Next, I have Cash Wagner and 3 PA peoples. I'll just say it that way. How's that, Roger?
Good evening, Roger Sang, CPA representing Cash Wagner and Associates and their real estate holding company, Three People's Properties LLC. Nothing's really changed other we're down one employee from, we were 22 last year down to 21. They're down an engineer that they hope to find one this year, but depends on the labor market. But they continue to invest in that facility, so they're, I believe they're well in compliance with what they had promised. And
Make a motion that they're in sufficient compliance.
Okay, I have a motion from Kevin. They're in compliance.
Second.
Second from John. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay.
Thanks, Roger.
And that was to cover both. Just want to make sure that was your intent there. Okay. And then I have Jasper Engines and Transmissions.
Good evening, Ralph Schwenk, representing Jasper Engine Exchange. In regards to the Resolution 2014-6 and 2014-8, I believe you have the information in front of you, but looking at the personal property and the real property, it's not a lot of change since last year. On the people, we have increased the workforce by 46 people in the city here. So we are overall, our original goal was increase by 100 folks, and we've increased by 185. So we feel like we're good there. Just like everybody else, we're looking for people. I think we got 51 openings in Jasper, and company-wide, we're at more like 120 or something like that. So we need people.
Thank you for providing this summary.
Sure.
Makes a whole lot of sense when you can read it that way.
I'll make a motion that their Jasper Engines is in substantial compliance.
Motion from Kevin. And a second from Chad.
Mayor, I'm employed by Jasper Engine, so I won't be able to vote.
Abstain. Okay.
Okay.
So any further discussion on this? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I note that Councilman Monday has abstained.
Okay. Appreciate all the support.
Thank you. I have Jasper Chair Company.
Good evening, Council. I'm Jeff Barth, President of Jasper Chair Company. We have the two resolutions, 2013-4, or actually both of them. All the equipment and building, everything's still functioning and in use today. Nothing's changed on the equipment side. People-wise, we were down a little bit more last year, but we've gained some of that back, so we're close. We're not quite there, but same story. Looking for people, looking for bodies to fill positions. We'd take 15+ people tomorrow if we could get our hands on them. So, but that's kind of the story and what we're working from. So.
I'll make a motion that they are in substantial compliance.
This is for both as well, right?
Yep, I'll second.
Motion from Kevin and a second from Paul. Any further discussion?
It looks like you just have a couple years left on this abatement also. Yeah. Maybe you'll apply for another one.
Maybe, I don't know. So we'll see how it goes, I guess. So there'll be more. There's still a lot of equipment and things that we'd like to bring in, but just kind of finding it. And
Yeah, right now, it's tough finding that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Next item is Park Place Estates, 1 and 2.
Ruger Kirsteins with Park Place Estates 1 LLC. If it's okay with everybody, I'll present Phase 1 and 2 together. Phase 1 was completed in the early summer of 2020. That's been strong ever since we completed construction. That one was fully leased. Whenever we finished construction, they moved in as paint was drying, I guess you could say. So that all went well. It remains good today. Phase 2. Project was slated to start late 2020. We put everything on pause because we didn't know exactly what was going to happen during the COVID period. Last year, whenever I presented, I asked for an extension of 1 year and being out of compliance with my start date on my original submittal. That was approved last year. Since then, we've got 6 buildings framed up under roof, drywalled in 4 of them, 2 of them drywalls going up soon, and residents are going to be moving in 2 weeks on the buildings that were completed first. So I'd say still on track with that. I had on here that I was going to have it completed in March. It has taken a little bit longer to get it done, but I'm only behind a couple of months on that. So with that, I would entertain any questions on that.
Ruger, I can't remember, have you applied for or would you be applying for Phase 3? Is there a Phase 3 with that project?
Yes, there'll be 2 more.
2 more phases.
Yeah. Yeah, we found the good spot there. Just number to build is between 30 and 40 at a time. So after this one, we're halfway done, and then the next round will be 30 to 40 more, and then total unit count, there's 150. So we'll be at 75 after this one's done. So
I happened to drive through there the other night. I stopped through periodically and see, and I saw the paving equipment there, and the grade was set for the parking lot and the roads, and looked like there was a lot more done than I would have expected to see at this point, given the state of construction materials and everything else. So, yeah.
Yeah, the windows set us back. I think it took an extra 3 months to get our windows in. So that's kind of what set us back. Or everything else we've been warehousing. Mm-hmm. Wait on it.
Mm-hmm. And everything is still good with the neighbors out there on that street that's...
To my knowledge, yes.
Complaints that I'm aware of at the city office either.
Well, the top of the roof peak is pretty low because of the way that you had to build into that hill.
Yeah.
From those neighboring homes. It's not like there's a giant building behind them.
That's what they were interested in, wasn't it? When we talked to them up front.
Yeah, and I can't remember what year the PUD was set, but there was also a lot of parameters and different things that we had to follow within there that protected the neighbors on Virginia Street.
Yeah.
And that cul-de-sac for the bus and everything, that's all working out good?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Mayor, I'll make a motion for Phase 1 and Phase 2 of Park Place Estates to be in substantial compliance.
I'll second that.
Motion by Nancy and a second by Kevin. Further discussion? Not all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thanks, Ruger.
Thank you.
Appreciate your investment in the community. As you know, we've got hundreds of employee needs, so we need places for them to move to. So- You heard that, right? All right. Meyer Distributing and Brown Family Properties, Jeff Braun, and Jeff is here. Okay. Well, great.
Jeff Braun representing Transit Properties, Brown Family Properties, and Meyer Distributing. The first resolution number we had was kind of a joint. It was Meyer Distributing and Transit Properties. That's 2014-15. We are 221 employees above what we committed for at the time. So I think you'll find we're in compliance on that one. That was basically to construct 2 buildings and then all of the associated equipment that goes inside. And then the other resolution, it was actually 2 of them, but they were together, 2012-8 and 2012-11. Those were for an addition to an existing building we had, plus all the racking, forklifts, charging stations, servers, all the things that go, cameras that go into the buildings. And we were between the two, plus 286.
I don't think there's any question that you're insubstantial.
I think we've made it, so.
And still needing employees as well, I trust.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well, but, you know, we could always hire more, but we have a little better ability to shift things around than if you're a manufacturer, because we have so many facilities. So we can move production on a weekly basis to some extent, so we have a little more flexibility, I think, than, you know, maybe what some are going through where their only base to draw from is just right here. We were fortunate too, we didn't lay anyone off during COVID, so there were,
That's all.
if anything, we kept the pedal to the metal, and that's how we got a pretty big surge of employees, and we've been able to hold a lot of them.
That's great.
Great.
I'll make a motion that they're in substantial compliance.
Second?
Motion from Kevin and a second from John. Any further discussion?
Jeff, we have
Sure.
before on some of the abatements done tours of some of the companies. Would you?
Sure.
for that at some-
Yeah, absolutely, anytime.
Okay, maybe I'll call you.
Yeah, you can just reach out to me or,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. And I have next Vine Street Lofts and Jasper Lofts. So we have,
Hi, I'm joining you virtually.
there we go.
About 4 hours away. My name is Katie Wendell, and I'm the regional manager over Vine Street and Jasper Loft. Those communities have been doing well, staying full, or pretty full, 97% occupied on both of them right now with units on the 2 vacants at each. We have two managers, one at Jasper and one at Vine, and both communities. At this point, those are the only two employees that we have there, and so far so good. Things have really turned the corner. I've got good people in place, and things are going well. Any questions for me?
Any questions? Okay. Well, I appreciate the effort that you put into getting your management team in place, and, you know, it's noticeable.
Thank you.
Great.
I'll make a motion they're in substantial compliance.
I have a motion from Kevin.
Second? Oh, sorry, Phil.
A second from Paul. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then I have German American Bank. First one here, but last one up.
Mayor, let it be known that I abstain.
Abstain. John will abstain as an employee of German American. Okay.
Good evening. I'm Scott Miller, the Facilities Manager for German American Bank. I'm here seeking substantial completion for our CF-1 Real Property Resolution 2017-14. Ours was based on a number of employees and salaries, and we had originally estimated 96 employees when we started this in 2017 with a total salaries of about $3.2 million. And we were looking at an additional new employees, new positions created would have been 4 with a total salary count of 116,000 and change. As of yesterday, we have 123 employees at that location with a combined salaries of a little over $6.2 million. And we have a total of 17 new employees and new positions with salaries of $967,000 and change.
Good job. I'll make a motion, German American is substantial compliance.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Kevin and a second from Chad. Any further discussion on that? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
As you can see, we've got several businesses that, as part of the incentive packages that we provided them, have done well and continue to serve our community in great capacity. So thank you, council, for those investments.
Mayor, could we were talking before, could Alan get us information on all the abatements that are out, like on a spreadsheet that shows how many years they're in and then what the value is of the abatement so we could see how and where that's going to be coming in? Did you have something else?
And just when they expire.
Yeah, when they expire.
Sure. Yep.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it'd be a nice summary. Yep.
It would be nice when we're reviewing them to kind of know where they are in that 10-year period.
Next item on the agenda, we have Claudia Juarez regarding Cafe Pina.
Hey everyone, I'm Claudia Juarez. I'm representing Cafe Pina LLC. I'm the new restaurant trying to open over at the Riverfront Center, and I'm here for approval of.
What we'll actually do is ask council to authorize me to submit a letter of support to the ABC, the Alcoholic Beverage Commission.
Or the ATC.
ATC?
Back on fire.
All right. ATC in favor of this license being issued.
Do we have to put a resolution or anything on that here?
Yeah. This board, based on the ordinance that we passed setting up the process, this board is the review board that determines whether they want to give a favorable recommendation or not based on the applicant's submission. If the answer,
Mayor,
then you authorize the mayor to send a letter to the ATC advising them that we are giving a favorable recommendation.
Excited to see you here and
absolutely
happy to.
That's what we did with the St. Benedict's.
That's right.
And Claudia, I've looked through your materials, but what type of liquor do you plan on serving? Or what is allowed with this riverfront license?
It's a three-way.
Three-way, okay, and that's what you're going to plan?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
And also because you have catering?
Correct.
I'll make a motion.
There's no liquor catering.
No liquor catering, just food catering.
Okay.
The liquor license will be specific to
The Riverfront.
Claudia's restaurant at that location. It can't be moved and it can't be sold.
The liquor license can't be transferred either?
That's right.
Because it's in the district. Riverfront District. I'll make a motion, a favorable motion to move forward.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Yep. A motion from Kevin and a second from John. Any further discussion?
Good luck.
Excited.
I'm excited.
Anybody saying aye?
Aye.
To get your signature on these documents.
And you have a good landlord sitting back there.
A lot of support. A lot of people want to see success in that, Claudia.
Presentation, she had all the information. It was excellent. And some of them pictures, it makes me hungry.
She put a lot of time and energy into it, and I know she had a lot of help, in trying to develop this business plan. I appreciate just all the work that's been done by mentors and family. So everybody's involved. Okay, next thing is we asked Chief Hoaxang, we're having each department come and do a presentation to council, kind of an update each month. And so here we're going to talk about code enforcement. So, Chief?
Thank you. Good evening. Code enforcement, not always the most fun part of what I do, but it needs to be done, as you can see. So each year, we have about 80 or 85 properties that we actually post notices on the door when we get a complaint of an issue, whether it's weeds, trash accumulation, or anything that you can imagine we have through our ordinances. So out of those 85, we try to put the notice, and then if needed, the legal department will send a letter if it's not abated within the time allowed, and then we'll end up calling the street department or the proper agency to come in and clean up the property. And then after that, the clerk treasurer's office will, the street department will put together an invoice or a bill with all the charges that were applied, depending on the equipment that they use. And then the clerk treasurer's office will send out the invoice from there. So it's very time consuming. It takes a lot of time, a lot of different departments for one property. So as I said, we visited about 85 properties, and I think last year 54 of those were weeds and or trash together. A lot of them are together. If you have weeds, you probably have trash, and so we visit those together. So we take care of those. And other things that we get a lot of complaints on are signs that are put up in Jasper. You know, sometimes people don't realize, or they put signs up in others' property without getting permission, and oftentimes it's not legal. So we deal with those. We get animal complaints from time to time that we deal with. Of course, you all know pools and hot tubs was a topic there for a while. Unsafe buildings is another issue that we always deal with. I think the most important thing that we've done last year, April 1st, was the property maintenance ordinance. That has seemed to really help. That's your outdoor furniture sitting on the front porch, your appliances, the vehicles parked in front yards. Those things have pretty much gone away. We see a little bit yet, but not much like we had in the past, so that's improved a great deal. And then last week, Renee and Darla and I were in on a call regarding, it's called GoGov, I believe, and Renee can probably explain this a lot better. It is actually a software firm that if the city pursued this, it would greatly simplify what we do. All of you have access, whether you want to report, see where it's at, depending on the property. If it was an issue with property maintenance, anyone could start that complaint, and then from there you could see as we go forward, move forward and follow up, and pictures would be attached and things like that. So Renee, if you probably want to add on to that a little bit and explain that software and the cost that goes with that.
I mean, as you all know, we try to do as much as we can with as little resources as we can. And the chief doesn't have staff, administrative staff to support him. And so that falls on the legal department and legal department administrative assistant. So it would definitely be a way of streamlining that process. I think we've scheduled or are trying to schedule a meeting with any department that is involved with code enforcement. So that will be Kenny's department, planning for UDO enforcement, stormwater, maybe even, I'm not sure, but maybe even parking tickets, so that we would have one place where all of those things could be compiled and a way for everybody to have a single resource to use to generate reports and letters and just really trying to streamline. So it's not cheap, but about $1,400 a month.
So there's two versions of it. There's the
Can't just purchase it. You have to pay the.
And it's got two parts. One part is the software itself, and the other part allows you to set up an app that citizens can have on their phone so they can contact you with complaints. And anyway, we're just literally at the very beginning of investigating. So if we get to a point where we are seriously considering use of this, then certainly we could have a demo to let you all see what the benefits are and get your input on that.
It's definitely less expensive than hiring someone.
That's what I was thinking too. There's no benefits to worry about on the back end of things. It's not somebody that's gonna. It's always on too. It's an overtime.
So Kenny, when you were kind of explaining that, did you say like a resident could input another resident's property?
We allow that.
And
we can pick and choose.
sometimes leery of
They are.
their name, of who they are reporting that. Would that be,
Not accept anything that's not attached with a name and things like that, and so.
Well, I can tell you, in the current situation, I'm sure everybody else receives calls, but I receive call almost 100% of the time. They say, don't you attach my name to it.
Oh, 100%.
100% of the time. So when I get a hold of you, I just say a name.
Sure.
or someone that just drove by? Wouldn't even have to be a neighbor.
If I want to find out who, if they have a permit, do I ask you? Are you in charge of that?
Permits-wise would go through Darla more.
Darla?
A permit for what, Dave?
Somebody changing a garage into a business?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if somebody,
That would be Darla, but
and that's not even technically not a permit, they would have to go through the process of getting a special exception or a variance.
So would I ask Darla then?
Yeah, that would be the best place to start.
so I mean, it's a wide variety of complaints that come in. What I like about the new software is that it would streamline what we do, and everyone would have access, all of us would have access to look at that at any time and see where that property's at. It would let us know when their 5 days are up or their 7 days, depending on whether it's weeds or trash or whatever the issue is. It let us know when that's up, and you could go back and see without calling, like, hey, where there's property at? Because we all know there's properties that are very difficult to deal with, and we wish we had a better answer to remedy this.
Kenny, as part of our grass ordinance, had a neighbor call me, and I walked down the road to the house and checked it out on my own. I was getting ready to actually give you a call because it was out of compliance. Guy comes in with a mower, and now it looks like a chopped up hayfield or something. Is that legal? Because he cut the grass. Because it looks absolutely horrible.
It's amazing what we find when, especially, whether it's rental property that is not being maintained, or it's foreclosure property. When those companies come in, they are in and out in a few minutes. We had one years ago, literally.
I've had one go
Yes.
across the yard with a lawnmower, one swoop across, and he said, it's mowed.
There was a branch in that yard, and they ended up, after 3 months, they took some Roundup and sprayed around the branch, and they never, ever moved it. The weeds were coming through because he mowed around it. Couldn't move the branch, and that's what we deal with. I mean, it is amazing. So, and the complaints come in, they vary from everything. We had one this week that if there was an option other than having grass, I mean, it's amazing of what.
Wanted to just kill it all, huh, and let it be a.
When you review that, are we allowed to be there? I'd love for you to call me, and I'd love to show up, because
Sure.
I live in the middle of a lot of issues, as you're well aware.
Sure, absolutely.
It's really frustrating.
Sure. Last year, the mayor, we went for a drove for an afternoon. We went through and we checked a lot of properties. So you're welcome to do that, and just let me
You
know.
don't have to drive, you can just come to my house, park.
And anytime, any of you, please, if you have an issue, my phone rings Saturday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evenings. It's like people, I had a lady stop in my driveway last week and wanted to know about a neighbor and what we could do. So she sat there for 20 minutes and in my driveway, I was outside trying to do stuff. So it's not, yeah, really. It's not Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 at all. It's 24/7.
Well, I think
That's
it
okay.
emphasizes the expectations that the residents have, on other residents, and
We do have high expectations.
yeah, and those expectations then are reflected in the ordinances that have been passed, and then our responsibility to respond to out of violation.
And I would only say that we do continue to try to work with the property owner.
Sure.
I mean, our goal is not to fine people, but to try to get them to take care of their own property. So,
A lot of people, if I show up and if we happen to be outside or if I knock on the door, that is always the way we want to do it. We don't want to put a notice on their door because they think that's a ticket, that's a fine. They call, how much do I owe? That's not really what we want. If we can knock on the door and they can take care of it, that is by all means much easier for us to deal with. So rather
A
much.
lot of times there's situations that, precipitate that
Sure.
they're unable to do it
Sure.
or something like that. And we can find a better way of doing it. We just need to find a better way of doing it. I had a question for you on there, and I think you and I discussed it, and I know I'm not trying to add more to your agenda, and you probably know where I'm going with this already, but we're very, we're not actively, you don't drive by and actively, you wait for a call, is that correct?
Most of the time.
Okay.
If it's some of the ones we posted this year already, we've been there every year.
So, I mean.
So those we try not to let get out of hand, but otherwise we wait for phone calls to come in and things. We don't like try to go out and just.
With 84, 85 of them, you pretty much have the ones covered that are probably
the ones that we visit every time. Yeah. When the Board of Public Works, I read the ones that are the weed letters, and those a lot of times are the same people that you'll hear year after year. Until the property's sold. Until the property's sold and somebody else takes care of it, then it is repeat customers a lot.
I think a lot of things that we had discussed earlier that, again, seem to bother me a lot, again, just by where my home lies, is that, we want people to mow their grass, but we seem to forget that leaves fall in the fall, and they may mow, but they never pick up their leaves. And for some odd leaves, I got a leaf magnet in my yard. It just kind of sucks the leaves from every house.
One of those too.
Yeah, it's amazing. But I seem to get every leaf that's in my neighborhood in my yard. So that's a little bit frustrating. So.
I had the same complaint today. Somebody stopped by the office today and had the same issue.
So that goes along with grass too, if they mow the grass, but it's just thrown out in the street.
Yes.
That's a problem there.
If we see that, then we'll get hold of Chad Mundy and he'll drive out. He's got door hangers.
Stormwater issue.
Yes, then that turns into stormwater because we don't want that in our storm drains and our storm sewers. So, yeah. Yep.
I'll just mention this, and the mayor's aware of this too, that my husband and I, we do drive around and look at these violations a lot, and he's offered to get a group of people to help clean up some of the yards, at least as a pilot program, because those people would also have to commit to keeping their yard cleaned up and mowed.
I'll volunteer for that.
Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Call me.
All right. All right, well, he has a group, but he'll add you to the list. So the process is just not started yet, and it can become very legal and very complicated, but we want to keep it simple.
We want to keep it simple.
One or two homes, see how that goes, and then go from there.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I did want to say that we had met with Gil and had that conversation. The hope is that we could use a group like that, or engage, I should say, a group like that, to assist folks who have issues with their yards and with their houses and the exterior, probably primarily, that who are unable to help themselves, elderly people or people who have other issues that don't allow them to take care of those issues. So that when Kenny is having those conversations, and they look to him and say, I can't do it, what are my options, that he would have an option for them. So.
And then.
Versus the house on Sunset Drive with the young people inside that just choose not to do it year after year after year after year.
We have identified one home. It's just trying to make contact with the owner now. And as soon as he gives us the go-ahead, we'll give Gil a phone call and get the group together, and it'll take a half a day to, 6 people to go out, and you'll see a big difference.
Half a day's work on that home.
Yes, it's
And our focus is owner-occupied
100%, yeah.
houses, not rental houses.
Right.
So it can make a big difference. And as I told Nancy, I said we need to take before and after pictures, because you will see a big difference in his home, and it'll look nice. And I think that he will be supportive of us coming out. So.
And hats off to Gil, and I've had some other people that had called into the office, so we kind of pulled that group together with Kenny and Renee, and how do we go about this? And so we're doing a pilot. Hopefully the pilot takes off, and as happened here tonight, others join in and become part of the solution. So
Biggest issue is that they have to allow us on their property, and if that
Yeah.
happens, then we're good to go. So we have to help.
There's no legal problem with us doing that if we.
With their approval, the homeowner would have to.
Again, this is not a city-sponsored group.
But I meant for us to, for him to give a name out, and then.
I've had people reach out and it's like, I need help and I can't afford it and things like that. And we've never had this, and now we have this opportunity.
we're actually asking them to fill out a form to request the assistance. So we don't, it's not initiated by us, it's initiated by them.
Now we have that they're asking for that help, so we can give them somewhere to reach to.
The only other question, what about insurance?
Well, again, it's going to be,
Even for
The
them.
volunteers would probably have to sign off on something also. Yeah.
I mean, it's a great idea.
We'll work through the pilot.
Sure. Sounds good, Kenny. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And by the way, I did call Kenny on unfortunately on a Sunday, and I didn't expect him to come out. I told him to come Monday or Tuesday, and he was out within an hour on a Sunday, so thanks, Ken.
Always, anybody just reach out.
And it was taken care of right away, by the way, so hopefully it continues.
Next thing on the agenda is ordinance number 2022-5, and this is an ordinance providing for the operation of natural gas system owned by the city of Jasper, fixing a schedule of revised rates and sale of gas by the Jasper Municipal Gas Utility. This will be a first reading procedure. So I'd like to have a motion to read the ordinance on first reading in full or by title only.
Make the motion we read by title only, please, Mayor.
I have a motion from Paul to read by title only,
I'll second it.
second by Dave. With the city attorney, please read the ordinance by title only. Oh, excuse me.
did you vote on that?
Motion, I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Ordinance number 2022-5, an ordinance providing for the operation of a natural gas system owned by the city of Jasper, Indiana, and fixing a schedule of revised rates and charges for the sale of gas by the Jasper Municipal Gas Utility.
Could I have a motion to approve the ordinance on the first reading?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion from Kevin,
I'll second.
a second from Dave. Any further discussion?
Give us a brief overview, please.
Absolutely. So you can see there are two sections that are being changed. In Section 2, under licensed installer, paragraph A, the percent for answers to be correct on the applicant question, or, I'm sorry, applicant's test is being changed from 70% to 80%.
That's good.
And we've had that conversation times. And then on number 3, testing by licensee, again, subparagraph A, it used to state that every licensee shall test every installation with at least 20 PSI of air by an approved type gauge for a minimum of 2 hours. So this is being changed from 20 PSI and 2 hours to 10 PSI for 10 minutes. And I've been told by the utility department, the gas department, and the general manager that that is consistent with standards.
So those are the two.
Those are the only changes.
Now we don't have to guess every time. What is that percentage? I think an 80% is what we were all agreed on.
Makes me feel better at 80%. I'd like to see 85, but 8 and 10 passing.
Any other discussion, questions? I think the Utility Service Board felt the same way. Got a motion from Kevin and a second by Dave. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. What time is it? 8:16. Okay, we'll have the second reading next month then.
Second and final.
Then the next thing on the agenda, I had Resolution 2022-4. And this is a resolution, so this is eligible for a one reading only procedure.
Right.
Could I have a motion to consider the resolution for one reading only?
I'll make that motion.
Nancy,
I'll second
And a second from Phil. Could I have a motion to have the ordinance, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Make a motion for one reading only, please, Mayor? Or excuse me, by title only. Title only, sorry.
Motion from Paul for title only. I have a second from Chad. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, would the city attorney please read the resolution 2022-4 by title only?
Resolution number 2022-4, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Jasper, Indiana, addressing use of funding provided under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021.
Could I have a motion to pass and adopt Resolution 2022-4?
I'll make that motion.
Chad?
A second.
Second from Dave. Any further discussion?
Mayor, has there been decisions or further discussion on how these ARP funds will be spent?
There will be an ARPA plan. At this point in time, we know that given that it is eligible for replacement revenue, and that's what we were trying to get through, at least with this. And then at later use, we know that we've committed 30% to the HELP grant with the county. And then the other 70% can be used, can go back into the general fund at this point in time and be used for other projects.
So communities that get ARPA funds can designate up to $10 million to be used for revenue replacement. And that's the most flexible of the designations for use. You still have to come up with or put together your plan. So it's not changing that part at all. It's just formally designating what those funds are, for lack of a better term, how they're going to be designated or what they're going to be called. So that's what this resolution does. And then we will put together the plan for the use of those funds, and that will have to come back to the council, and that will have to be approved.
So if some of the funds, for example, was put in the rainy day fund, and sometimes that accumulates funds for a couple of years, would these particular dollars, though, have to be spent by 2026, even though they'd be in a rainy day fund?
So, yes.
But as I understand it, we could take these and put them into regular funds that we would normally spend, and then allocate our regular tax base allocation into the rainy day.
Yes.
Where it would be safe. So it's able to build that savings account back up, moving it around, it's shells, but yeah.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate we haven't had to spend these funds yet.
You're right.
Time to think about how to spend them.
There are lots of opportunities. But as you know, we go through the financial plans, we look out into the future and where we want to use our funds and try to leverage as much as we can with grants. And I think that's the right way to go.
That's the great matches.
Yeah, we, try to get as much out of your dollars as you can.
We've gotten partial. Haven't we received partial of these funds already?
Received half.
Half, okay. And the other half,
By the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
And the total is $3,556,700. And again, we've committed 30% of that to the HELP grant program, of which that 30%, we get a portion, some of the $1 million that was received as the HELP grant goes to the county and city of Jasper as co-owners of that grant. So we'll get more money back. So I have a motion from Chad and a second from Dave. Call for a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item on the agenda, not on the original printed agenda. It came in because we were just notified late that we had received the Community Crossings grant that we had applied for. And with that, Renee was scrambling today to put together ordinance number 2022-6, which is an ordinance authorization for the execution of the NDOT agreements.
So, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we did receive the congratulatory letter indicating that we received Community Crossings grant funds for a project here in Jasper, and along with that came an instruction sheet which indicated that NDOT is now going fully electronic signing, and they require the city to designate a signatory for those grant agreements or any related documents. So this ordinance merely is the council's designation of the mayor as the person to sign the grant agreement and any other related documents on behalf of the city.
I'll make that motion for ordinance 2022-6 for the mayor to be the designated signer on the Community Crossings grant.
Nancy, before we go there, is this available for one reading?
Yeah, we'll have to go through the one reading only procedure.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion for one reading only.
I have a motion from Paul for one reading only. Second from Kevin. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Could I have a motion to have the ordinance read in full or by title only?
I'll make a motion to read it by title only.
I have a motion from Nancy to read by title only.
I'll second.
And I have a second from Phil. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Would the city attorney please read the ordinance by title only?
Ordinance number 2022-6, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Jasper, Indiana, concerning authorization for execution of NDOT agreements.
Okay, could I have a motion to pass and adopt ordinance number 2022-6?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion from Nancy,
Second.
second from John. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
2-6 is passed. That was great news that we got the community crossings. It's going to be applied, the specific areas out there at the Holy Family, streets, curbs, and stormwater. Three elements of that community crossings grant. Before I go into the last item, I did want to share also, I just received notice late this afternoon that we received approval for a Next Level Trails grant in the amount of $2 million. That's to extend from down Northwood to St. Charles.
To connect to the golf course?
Connect back to the golf course. So that $2 million grant has been approved and moved on.
Absolutely.
Don't know much else about it. There's some requirements. We'll have to figure out what those requirements are, but I just did get notification.
Mayor, is there a match included in that grant? That's the part we don't know.
Minimal, or if there's 20% or what it is right now. I think it might be a 20% match. So the details still to come. But, these grants, again, it's extending our dollars to get things done and making it safer there. All right, I have, last thing on the agenda, I have a gas contractor's license.
Mark B. Messmer, who scored 96 on the test.
I have a motion from Kevin to approve the application for gas contractor's license for Mark Messmer.
Second.
And I have a second from Paul. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Yeah, it's one of the best scores we've had.
Yeah.
All right. I have no other items on the agenda, but I do want to take a moment. I noticed Mark Nortoski in the audience, and Mark is the gentleman that had submitted our application for Strong Towns and initiated the whole thing. So Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
It's been a real experience. It seems like every day we're being interviewed by someone, about this experience. So it just shows you that the community does a lot of things right and we didn't even know we were a strong town. Applied, and when you're always trying to adapt best practices, put those in place, that's what Strong Towns is all about, and that's what we found out. It's a packaged thing, and it just really happy to see that we made it through from the Sweet 16. We won. So thank you, Mark, for all your efforts.
Thanks.
Thank you.
With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Dave?
Give it to Dave. I'll second.
Dave and Chad. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.